Hi guys, this is On My Honor. We're live at Crossroads Restaurant with the beautiful, talented Michelle Dede. We're going to be asking her some questions about herself and of course be invading her privacy. Why not stick around? We'll be right back with more of On My Honor with beautiful Michelle Dede. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of On My Honor. We're live at Crossroads Echo Hotel for this episode, and we have beautiful Michelle Dede sitting right next to me. Welcome, madam.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on the show.
It's good to be on the show, but you can just call me Michelle. Madam sounds like a bit too serious.
I know, right?
It's not
Michelle.
that serious.
Michelle, it's good to have you, Michelle.
Thank you.
You look gorgeous.
So do
usual.
you. So do
Thank
you.
you very much. So, on my honor, we're going to be asking you some serious questions.
Okay.
And you're expected to tell us the truth. And on that note, we have a little oath we take.
Okay.
And we put our right hand up.
Okay.
I promise to tell the truth.
I promise to tell the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
On my honor.
On my honor.
There we have it. All right, Michelle, good one.
Okay.
First
let's
of all,
do it.
let's do it. $50 million or to kill your best friend?
That's like a no-brainer. I mean, hello. I wouldn't. There's no way I would kill my best
$50
friend.
million?
There's no way I would kill my best friend.
Don't you think your best friend would be like, yes, kill me?
Kill?
And
I don't.
give my
That
parents half of the
nah.
money? That's too deep.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No. That's a bit too. I can't kill anybody.
Okay, $50 million or you act nude.
$50 million or act nude, like completely nude.
Completely nude.
I would do it on one condition. If it's a film being done in the States, so if it's a Hollywood film.
Oh, why not?
Because
Nollywood?
it would be because in Hollywood you can get a body double.
Yeah, true.
So nobody would know the difference. And I don't think we've gotten to the stage yet in Nollywood where we're doing nude scenes. You know, we do love scenes, etc. But we've not done any, even topless. We haven't done that. So. Yeah. I'm just trying to think. Do a nude scene in this is Nigeria. I can't. No, I live here. I can't try that. Okay. So only on the condition that it's a Hollywood film.
Okay.
But otherwise, that $50 million is good though. But nah. Yeah.
And what's the last lie you told?
The last lie I told.
What's the most?
I can't remember lying anytime recently. I'm trying to think if I lied to my dad. Okay. Yes. My dad won't be watching this. So that's fine. I lied to my dad. I think he had wanted me to come to Abuja because my father lives in Abuja. And because the airports are closed, I was just like, that whole traveling to Kano thing and 3 hours. I'm like, nah, man. So he's like, are you working on anything at the moment? I said, yes, you know, I am kind of busy, even though my schedule is not that packed at the moment like it usually is, because I just don't want to have to go through that long journey right now. But I'm a good daughter. Don't think I'm not a good daughter. I visit on a regular basis. It's just right now.
What was your favorite childhood memory?
Ooh, Lord, there are so many. From childhood, I wasn't that young actually. I was a teenager. So because my dad was quite strict with me, because I was the youngest from my mom, he was very, liberal and free with my older siblings. So he used to let them go out. So I wasn't allowed to go out when I was in high school. So it's like, unless I was going to like basketball practice or like swimming practice, I want to go out was something that I did not ask my father to do. It was like, don't ask. So there was one particular holiday. My sister came on holiday from school because she was in school here and we were living in Ethiopia. So she had said to me, look, you're old enough. So let me tell you what you do. You basically walk into the living room and you tell him that you're going out. And I was about 17. Okay. I said, well, how am I going to tell him? He's going to freak out if I tell him I'm going out. She said, no, you don't ask him. You tell him. I said, oh, but I can't do that. I'm not like you. She said, no. You just tell him. And it was to go to like a party that was going to end at maybe like 11, 12. But because it was something that I was not allowed to do, I was scared. So I walked into the living room. And I remember our living room had like a glass door. So my elder sister was standing behind the glass door. And she was basically telling me what to say. So she pushed me into the living room. And so, for example, if this was a living room, I stood like right there. And then my dad was the camera. And he was reading a newspaper. And he just looked up and he saw that I was dressed. So he was like, you're dressed. And it was probably about, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 o'clock. He said, you're dressed. Where do you think you're going to? And I was shaking. And he said, where do you think you're going to? Calmly and everything. And literally, it was like I was stuttering. I was like, I wanted to ask if I could. My sister's whispering from the other side. She said, don't ask him, just tell him. So he could hear her, And she said, just tell him I am. So I'm like, I am. And then she says, going out. And I'm like, going out. And my father responds, are you telling me or are you asking me? First he says, oh yeah. My dad had this habit of saying, oh yeah, to everything if you said something to him. So he says, oh yeah. And I'm there looking at him like, my life has ended. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be stuck at home. I'll be grounded. And she says, tell him yeah. So I'm like, yeah. And he just burst out laughing. And he said, make sure that you come back before 12 midnight.
Nice.
And I stood there frozen on the spot. He said, okay, you can go now. And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you won't change your mind? And he was like, just go. So that kind of sticks in my mind because I was so scared to basically not just tell him or ask him, can I go out? But that was kind of the beginning of the end because at that point it was like, okay, I'm gonna go out. And yeah, so from the time I was about 18, then when I went into university and I came on holiday, it was just like, yeah, I'd get dressed up and he's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going out. He's like, oh yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Nice. Are you going to be a strict parent yourself?
I won't be very, very strict because my dad wasn't super strict. For whatever reasons, I think because I was the youngest and I was the youngest girl, he was just worried.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand why because he had been quite liberal with my older siblings. And I have two elder sisters and one brother. And he let them go out, pretty early. So I just thought, why are you being so strict with me? But when it came to other things, my dad truly was the coolest dad because we'd have friends over on weekends. It's like, oh, I'm going to my friend's house to spend the night. He didn't have a problem with that. You have 5 friends over. I remember at one point, a friend of mine, while I was in high school, was having some issues with her parents. And she moved in with us, and she lived with us for a year.
Oh, wow.
So my dad was very cool when it came to that kind of thing. But he just always wanted to know where you were. And there's no reason for you to be going to parties until you go to university. So a year before I went to university is when that incident happened.
That's so cool
Yeah,
and cute.
it was. Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing anyone at the moment?
Am I seeing anyone at the moment? No, and that's on my own. I'm actually not.
Why are you still single?
When people ask you that question, don't you think, why am I being asked that question? In Nigeria, I don't know, it's like women get asked that question a lot. I'm not seeing anybody. I was seeing somebody. It didn't work out, sadly. That was on his part. I didn't do anything wrong, I promise you. And it's a shame. I'm disappointed that it didn't work out because I was hoping that maybe he would have been the one. Yeah, so no, I'm single at the moment, sadly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, I'd like to know what has made you cry in the last couple of days, couple of weeks, and what would generally make you cry?
Nothing has made me cry, like genuinely cry in the last few days, except for when we were shooting. So I was playing a character whose husband is arrested. So I had to cry. And some people in Nollywood are so lucky. Like literally, it's like, okay, cry, and it starts coming. I don't know how they do it. It's something I'm learning. I've only been acting for 2 years, but I have to always kind of go to a place mentally that's not necessarily a nice place. So I think about the death of my mother, and that usually makes me cry. But one of the things that I learned from one of my colleagues, because she had said, it's not good for you to go there mentally because then when you have to then do another scene afterwards, it's difficult for you to kind of turn that off. You're still very emotional. So I've learned how to not get emotional about it. I don't think about the whole how she died and why. It's just sort of trying to remember her and maybe how I felt as opposed to thinking of her that kind of triggers that. So that's the only time really that I can say that I cried, which was last week.
Okay.
But thankfully, nothing has upset me in this Lagos that has made me cry.
That's good.
And may it not happen in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, it was fun hanging with you,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
And would you like to say anything to people watching the show?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so glad I made it. My name is Michelle Dede. Keep watching Tribe TV. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in to today's show. It's time to say goodbye to you all that tuned in to sit with us, myself, and beautiful, talented Michelle Dede. Please don't forget to keep up with us on our social media platforms. Our website is www.tribe.tv. Our Twitter and our Instagram handles are at TribeTV. My name is Asari Duke, and I'll see you guys next time. Keep watching Tribe TV.